Welcome to the 700 Club, an action plan. That's what the Biden administration has launched in response to the Supreme Court's decision overturning Roe v. Wade. At the top of the list, increased access to the abortion pill in states where abortion is now outlawed.
The dangerous side effects from this pill are rarely reported. Still, the risks are very real. Medical reporter Lori Johnson explains.
Calling the Supreme Court decision despicable, Health and Human Services Secretary Xavier Becerra is vowing to use his power to keeping all options on the table. One move is ordering federal health agencies to provide the pill if the mother's life is in danger or in cases of rape or incest, even in states outlawing it.
Medication abortion has been approved by the FDA for years and is safe for patients.
Becerra echoed earlier comments from Biden administration officials vowing to make the abortion pill more available, but stopping short of providing details about doing that in states where it's prohibited. Tony McFadden took the medication, which is actually a 2-pill prescription. The first is mifepristone, which blocks the hormone progesterone necessary to keep the baby alive, followed by misoprostol a couple days later, which causes the uterus to contract, forcing the baby out.
I do just remember looking down in the toilet and just thinking, just being in shock.
Excruciating physical pain began 2 months later.
And I went into the bathroom and there were blood clots the size of my fist leaving my body.
2 years later, a doctor's visit revealed more damage.
The nurse asked me if I had an abortion before. And I said, yes. And I said, why did you ask me that? And she said, because you have scar tissue.
Complications like Tony's are often never reported.
As many as 95% of all abortion pill complications are not reflected in FDA's data. And they don't even collect data on most complications anymore. They only require reporting on deaths.
The FDA approved the abortion pill regimen in 2000 and just last year dropped the requirement that doctors see patients in person before prescribing it.
Chemical abortions were 50% more likely to send someone to the emergency room for an abortion-related complication than were surgical abortions.
Abortion advocates advise women not to disclose they took the abortion pill if they have complications from it, and instead just tell doctors they're having a miscarriage.
Incomplete abortion, where pieces of the baby or pieces of the other pregnancy tissue are left inside the woman's uterus, that is a frequent complication with chemical abortion. And that's why we saw such a large number of women needing hospital admissions to have surgery to finish these abortions.
Pro-life attorneys hope to stop providers in states where abortion is legal from prescribing and mailing pills to people in states where it's not.
When you're saying there's an interstate conflict, we're going to have to unfortunately go back into the courts and see to what extent can we protect life there. And I think for most of the legislation across the pro-life board, we never criminalize the woman. The woman is the victim in this scenario.
Instead, they would pursue action against the doctors. That still doesn't prevent foreign doctors from prescribing the abortion pill online to women in the U.S.
I will review her case and send my prescription to her and to a pharmacy in India that can fill my prescription, and then it's sent from India. I am acting according to the medical, ethical guidelines and the laws.
The FDA asked foreign doctors to stop this practice and advises Americans to avoid taking abortion pills from other countries. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
I would love a culture that celebrated life, that celebrated pregnancy, that helped women have children. Wouldn't that be wonderful? They are our future. And when you are killing off your future and you're encouraging this culture of death, I just don't understand it. What in the world are we trying to do? By all means, let us help women. Let us help them have babies. Let us celebrate that. It is a tremendous celebration of life and a celebration of the next generation. In other news, dramatic testimony by a former White House staffer about Trump's actions on January 6 is coming under question. John Jessup has more from our CBN News Bureau in Washington. John?
Thanks, Gordon. The former top White House aide gave shocking testimony to the House Select Committee about the president's actions on January 6th. Now, there are reports that some Secret Service agents are prepared to dispute parts of her story. CBN's Charlene Aaron has the details.
In testimony before the January 6 House Select Committee, Cassidy Hutchinson revealed that the former president had no issues with his supporters coming to the January 6 rally with weapons, and testified that the president got physical when Secret Service agents wouldn't drive him to the Capitol. Hutchinson, a top aide to President Trump's chief of staff, Mark Meadows, said she heard the former president tell security officers at the rally to allow armed supporters past checkpoints to make for a larger crowd.
I was in the vicinity of a conversation where I overheard the president say something to the effect of, I don't effing care that they have weapons. They're not here to hurt me. Take the effing mags away.
The committee played police radio traffic from that morning, backing up the reports of armed protesters, some perched in trees.
They had Glock-style pistols in their waistband.
I got 3 men walking down the street and fatigued while carrying AR-15.
The former White House aide also said she was told that Trump was angry when Secret Service agents told him they were not going to drive him to the Capitol, and that things got physical when he attempted to take the wheel and drive himself.
The president said something to the effect of, "I'm the effing president, take me up to the Capitol now." The president reached up towards the front of the vehicle to grab at the steering wheel. Mr. Engel grabbed his arm, said, "Sir, you need to take your hand off the steering wheel. We're going back to the West Wing. We're not going to the Capitol."
The former president took to his Truth Social platform to dispute the claims. "Never complained about the crowd," he wrote. "It was massive. I didn't want or request that we make room for people with guns to watch my speech. Who would ever want that? Not me." Also debunking her account of lunging for the steering wheel. Her fake story that I tried to grab the steering wheel of the White House limousine in order to steer it to the Capitol building is sick and fraudulent. I hardly knew who she was. Multiple media outlets say the Secret Service is ready to dispute Hutchinson's claims of grabbing the wheel and assaulting an agent. A spokesman for the Secret Service tweeted a statement which says the United States Secret Service has been cooperating with the Select Committee since its inception in spring 2021 and will continue to do so, including by responding on the record to the committee regarding the new allegations surfaced in today's testimony. The committee's star witness also highlighting that White House counsel Pat Cipollone tried to get Meadows to encourage Trump to call off protesters over threats toward Vice President Mike Pence.
I remember Pat saying something to the effect of, "Mark, we need to do something more. They're literally calling for the vice president to be effing hung." And Mark had responded something to the effect of, "You heard him, Pat. He thinks Mike deserves it. He doesn't think they're doing anything wrong."
Meanwhile, Cassidy Hutchinson also revealed that former Chief of Staff Mark Meadows and Rudy Giuliani both sought presidential pardons related to the January 6th attack. Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
Thanks, Charlene. Turning now to the NATO summit in Madrid, where Turkey delivered a blow to Russia by dropping its objections to Finland and Sweden joining the alliance. The two nations applied for NATO membership in May in response to Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine. The chief of the Transatlantic Alliance says he's confident Sweden and Finland will be approved. The NATO nations also are expected to announce new steps in hardening their eastern defenses against Russia, including increasing the number of troops on high alert to 300,000, the most since the Cold War. Well, here in Washington, D.C., a summit is taking place to highlight religious freedom worldwide and bring attention to the plight of those persecuted for their faith. The annual International Religious Freedom Summit brings together politicians who don't usually agree. Scheduled speakers, including Democratic House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Republican Senator Marco Rubio. Summit co-chair Sam Brownback told CBN's Faith Nation that this is an issue that draws people together.
You've got literally billions of people in the world living in an environment where their religious freedom is restricted, is harmed, where there are attacks taking place, like in Nigeria, where you just had a church where 41 people were gunned down. I think it's just the pervasiveness of the persecution, along with the pervasiveness of faith. 80% of the world's population believes in something beyond themselves. They have a faith that operates in their lives, and the combination of those two draws people together to stand for people that are persecuted.
And Gordon, the summit begins today and includes testimonies from those who have suffered for their faith.
And we need to stand with those who are suffering for their faith. This is some of the greatest persecution the church has ever seen. I mean, literally going back to the Roman Empire. So whether it's in India or it's in China or it's in North Korea or it's throughout the Middle East, we need to stand with those who are suffering because of their faith.